Hi there. So I thought I'd record a quick video with my voice at this time about where I'm at. One of the diary videos, just to kind of give you a bit of background about the various ups and downs I've been experiencing through doing this, and where I see this going, if anywhere, and some of the insights that I've got out of doing this. So this is the first time I've ever done something like this. I've done similar things in the past, where I've done something every single day. There are a couple of examples that spring to mind. One was my 10 tracks, 10 weeks project, where I literally wrote an album in 10 weeks, one track a week for 10 weeks. And I blogged about it, and this was like in the relatively early days of very early days of the social internet. So it was around 2008, I think. And that's where I started my email list. I got about, I think, 500 subscribers from that project. Because in order to download the tracks off the album, you got one by one. You got them off Bandcamp, and that's where the email addresses came on. And my email list, which is now, come to think of it, it's now almost exactly 100 times bigger. So there you go. Almost exactly 100 times bigger email list started there. The one for Make Music Your Life for my current business. And actually, that project where I blogged about my creative process is where my coaching business started, which is quite interesting. But I wasn't actually sharing anything daily. I was doing something daily for 10 full weeks to share something at the end, and I was blogging about it, but there were a number of abstractions away from actually doing something live. I mean, live streaming wasn't a thing back then, as far as I know anyway. Then the other thing that I've done in my life, which is kind of similar, was, I can't remember what it was called now. There was a name for it, but it was a part of my coaching business, and I did I think it was a live stream actually every day on YouTube. And I think I did it for 50 shows. And I remember I used to start it off with something like, "Hi, this is Mike Monday with your espresso shot of inspiration and insight for the day," or something. That was it. It was the production game. That was what it was called. There are videos of it on my YouTube channel. In fact, some of my most popular videos are from that, and I would basically create a presentation every morning, or was it every evening? I can't remember. And then I'd live stream it. Very, very bad quality live streams back then. Back in my basement, I seem to remember, in the house I was living in Sydney back then. And I think it was live streamed. Yeah, I think it was live streamed. And then on YouTube, and that was it. But this is the only time I've ever done something creative with my music every single day, where I'm actually doing something, sort of creating a piece of work, if you can call some of them that. So this is very different because, for one thing, there's no endpoint to it, which creates a very different dynamic. With the production game, well, obviously with the 10 tracks, 10 weeks thing, there was an endpoint to that because there were going to be 10 tracks and it was going to be 10 weeks. So it was almost like, it was a kind of a sprint of sorts. At the production game, I never thought I was going to do it forever. And it was more work as well than this thing I'm doing now. Whereas this Mike Mondaily thing, the intention is to do it for as long as I'm alive. That's the intention anyway. And to be fair, I have had, well, I don't want to say had to miss. I have missed a couple of days so far, and I think that is going to occur from time to time, just because of life, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to stop if I fall off for one day. But that dynamic, and also the way that it's just about my music, there's very little talking apart from videos like this, has created a sort of different situation. And it's been really interesting to notice the troughs and the peaks, both in my motivation, but also in the quality of my perceived quality, granted, perceived quality of the music that is coming out of my fingers. And what is interesting about doing something every single day is that it's actually very hard to keep it simple so that the quality goes up. And the reason that the quality goes up when you keep it simple is because if you keep it simple, if you sort of stay within what you can do, then the quality is going to go up because you can do it, right? Whereas if you extend beyond what you can do, the quality goes down because you can't yet do that. Okay. Now, obviously, the solution to that conundrum, which is kind of doing more difficult things, is practice. But in my life, there's very little. I mean, I'm already overcommitted in lots of different ways. So there's very little time for me to simply practice in order to kind of push the boundaries. So really, a lot of the practice that I'm doing is having to be done in the live streams. So the one I just did about 2 minutes ago, I am pushing the boundaries. Yeah, I mean, there are other ones which are terrible, which are more just me about, I just don't want to do it. I just desperately don't want to do it. I'm tired. At the end of it, you'll see I'm in my pajamas. I'm like, oh God, I've got to do this. I'm just playing something and it just goes, right? But the one today is, it's rarely, well, it's not actually that early in the morning for me. It's 6 in the morning. So I'm fresh. And the reason, it's not, there are parts of it which are okay, and then there are other parts which are not good, is because I'm pushing the boundaries. I'm getting sick and tired of F minor, and I keep finding myself there, right? And I keep doing the same things over and over again. So in the one today, I used the circle of fifths to kind of go to different keys, but then I got stuck in the circle of fifths. I started going round and round. You never guess where it ended. And why I ended it on a bloop is because it ended in F minor. So what is really interesting about this for me is, how do I get good and practice, get better and practice in public? Because I think practice isn't just about doing it. I mean, you have to be doing it first. That's the first step. You have to be doing it in order to practice. Obviously, if you're not actually sitting down to play, you're not practicing, right? That's fairly obvious. But if you think about it in terms of one of my mentors, Dean Jackson, hi Dean, if you're watching, one of my mentors has this concept in marketing of when you're the Formula One cars are waiting at the racetrack, and there are these lights that go green light, green light, green light, and then they go. Yeah. So there is a kind of order of lights that have to go green in order for you to move forward. And obviously, in order to practice, you need to be playing the piano. Okay. I mean, I suppose actually there is some practice that you can do just mentally in between, but essentially, in order to practice and make any progress, at some point you do need to be playing the piano. So I'm doing that, right? But a lot of the live streams that I've done up until now, and we're on 67, I am literally treading water, and in some of them I'm going backwards. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm going backwards, it's just that I'm not getting anywhere. I'm like on this plateau, and it sort of starts to fall off as the motivation falls off. And so the conundrum for me is it's not enough for me just to do it to actually get better. I mean, I think in a sense I am getting better because I'm getting bored. I must be getting better because I'm getting bored of the things that I found interesting before. But then you hit this wall, yeah, where you're like, well, how do I actually get better in public? Because that's a whole other thing. It's like, just the thought that people have watched this absolutely appalling sort of piece of music where you just, well, it's not even a piece of music, you're just not really doing anything. It's a horror, it's not a very nice feeling. But it's another one of the reasons that I'm doing it. So to be honest with you, this is not a conundrum that I have yet worked out. I mean, one of the things that I need to do is get the music out and like initialize an actual practice regimen, even for a very short amount of time each day, which isn't me just improvising. Yeah. So that's one thing. But then another thing is, how do I get better in the actual live streams as well? And that's not something I've worked out. I mean, the good thing about doing this, I mean, it does feel like it's something I'm just going to continue doing. And I'm not concerned about how many views the video gets. It's quite funny actually, because YouTube keeps on showing me, you know, in the Creator Studio, keeps on showing me things about getting viewers and stuff. I'm not really concerned about that. Well, not really. I'm not concerned about that at all. In fact, it's great that there aren't very many viewers right now because of me solving the conundrum that I'm solving right now. So I'm not concerned about that. But what is frustrating and enlightening is that I haven't yet solved the problem of how to get better in my life right now at improvising using these live streams, these Mike Munn Daily live streams, as a lightning rod. Now, I know there is a solution to this somewhere. I mean, one of the elements of the solution is practicing outside of the live streams. But again, within that particular problem, it's like, what is the best thing to practice? That's another question I need to solve outside of the live streams. But on the live streams, I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pushing the boundaries. So I'm not going to be playing the same old thing. Like F minor, I'm going to try and avoid F minor. Although sometimes when I'm particularly tired, I'll probably just do F minor because it's the thing I'm most the key I'm most comfortable with for some strange reason. So I will try and avoid F minor, and I am going to be pushing the boundaries, probably not so much in terms of piano technique, but more in terms of harmonic content. Yeah, so I'm going to be playing around with different chords. You can probably hear some of the chords are getting a little bit more complicated now. Then now, for anybody who is in my Make Music Life ecosystem, I'm getting towards Einstein level chords now. Got some serious pro level chord action going on. But what that is going to mean probably is a somewhat of occasionally a reduction in how good the pieces of music actually are, because we've got to, like, it's better to, when you're practicing something, it's better to be at the point at which you can just about not do something than it is to be completely in the center of your comfort, like with it, you know, where there's just comfort. You've got to be in your stretch zone rather than your comfort zone. And this is super interesting because that's okay when you're practicing alone. That's absolutely fine. There's no downside to it. But in public, that's frightening. I mean, it's particularly frightening, which is a kind of stretch zone thing in itself. But really, if I am to make these live streams for the purposes that I'm doing it more potent, like the time, you know, the 5 minutes or the 3 minutes or the 2 minutes that I am actually doing this live each day, more potent for myself, for my progress, then I'm going to start to have to optimize my progress over the quality of the actual music right now. And again, this points to the conundrum, because obviously one of the purposes of the live stream at some point of these Mike Munn Daily things is for it to become something, right? It's to actually, you know, become something, not what it is now, something that people actually enjoy. And that ain't going to happen when I'm living in my stretch zone, yeah, because there's too many mistakes. It's not very good. But at this point, I can't see a way through this conundrum other than just to put myself out there and live in the area that I actually can't, do what I can't yet do, and do it live. So I hope that has given you some background on where I am and where this is going, and also what to expect. I am so grateful to Dean Jackson, to Luke Sipka, and to various other people who, like, there was a confluence of things that led to me deciding to do this. I'm so grateful, because this is a huge education for me in lots of different ways, which is really helping me help other people in my coaching business. And I feel extremely excited about where this could go in a few years' time, because just from my experience of practice in other areas, I know that I am getting better, even though the curve is like that. And simply by doing this every day and asking these kinds of questions, pushing myself into my stretch zone, even in public, it's going to be very, very interesting how, and this isn't being immodest because I'm not good yet, but how good I'm going to be in a few years' time. That's going to be like, it's probably going to be a dream for me. I mean, it feels like a dream right now. I remember actually, I was about to finish this video, but I'm just going to give you tell you another story from yesterday. So, oh yeah, that was right. I was uploading one of my beach walk videos for my other channel, for the Make Music Your Life channel, and it was 20 minutes long. And I was just talking, and Sally, my wife, came in, and I said, "Do you remember? I don't know, about maybe 6-7 years ago, there's a guy called Brendon Burchard, who's sort of an internet marketing guy, now kind of sort of bigger than that. So he sort of does personal development stuff on YouTube. Got a huge YouTube channel. But back then, it was, I don't know, maybe it was about 10 years ago now. I can't remember. Anyway, I followed him, and I marveled, because he used to do these videos in his office, and he would just, you could tell that they were unedited, and he would just talk for like 20 minutes without any, I mean, it seemed like he didn't have any script, and he would just talk, and it would make sense, and it would be valuable, and it was just like this, and there was no pausing, there was no, it was absolutely incredible. It just totally blew my mind, because at that point, in order to make a video, I had to outline a script, write a script, and read the script. It was just like, there was no chance. I mean, I could only just make it onto camera. And I watched this video of me on the beach, and I'm nowhere near where the quality of what Brendon Burchard was doing back then yet. There's still a lot of ums and ahs and all of that kind of thing. I mean, honestly, Brendon Burchard is an incredible speaker. And his ability just to weave a narrative together just on the fly like that is just unbelievable. But anyway, watching the video of me back, I said to Sam, I was like, do you remember when I said that to you about Brendon Burchard? I actually even remember going to an event, and it was some kind of coaching thing, and we had to kind of talk in groups, and I think one of the questions was, who would you like to model in an area of your life? And I said Brendon Burchard for public speaking because of this video. That's how much of a big impact he had on me, just for his ability to speak publicly. And I said, it's absolutely incredible. And looking back on that video, while I'm not no Brendon Burchard and never will be, I can now do, simply by doing it over and over again, I can now do what I never would have dreamed possible in terms of just speaking to camera. I mean, just what I'm doing right now as an example, being able to turn a camera on without knowing exactly what I'm going to say. I have a vague idea, and just turn a camera on and make some kind of sense. I was nowhere near it 5-10 years ago. Nowhere near it, right? And as long as I keep doing these Mike Bunn daily sessions on the piano and keep asking these questions, no matter what my thinking mind says about how well it's going, or how I'm on a plateau, or whether I'm going backwards or I'm going forwards, or anything like that, no matter what my thinking mind says in the moment, when I continue to do that every day, it's going to be very interesting what I am able to do as an improviser on a keyboard. It's going to be very interesting what I'm able to do in 5 years' time. I'm very excited about that. So that's what I've got in my mind when I am in a trough of despair, because there've been multiple troughs of despair while doing this, but I'm not over-indexing on that. I'm simply doing it. So this video has gone on longer than I was expecting. I hope it's given you some insight on where I'm at and where I'm going. So until tomorrow, where you'll hear me pushing the boundaries of my abilities once again. Onwards and upwards.